This is a True Crime in Real Time update from True Crime Today and the Hidden Killers podcast.
Today we delve into a story that peels back the glossy facade of an industry draped in glamour, exposing the unsettling undercurrents beneath. The scene is a New Year's Eve yacht party docked off the idyllic coast of St. Bart's, hosted by none other than Sean Diddy Combs. For most, it was a night of luxury, exclusivity, and revelry. But for Ty Stiklorius, it was the night she found herself in a terrifying situation that has haunted her for nearly 3 decades. Ty, who now stands as John Legend's manager and a staunch advocate for change in the music industry, had attended that party with her brother, blissfully unaware of the nightmare that awaited her. The yacht was called the Dream Seeker, a floating palace of indulgence. Music pulsed through the air, laughter echoed from every corner, and for a moment the world seemed lost in a haze of wealth and hedonism. But as Ty recalls in an op-ed for the New York Times, a man approached her, a figure who seemed close to the powerful party host, and he led her away from the glowing dance floor. She expected perhaps another room filled with revelers, maybe a secret VIP area. Instead, she found herself in a darkened bedroom, the door locking behind her. She doesn't remember how she got out. Maybe it was her frantic insistence that her brother was nearby, her voice trembling as she rambled about his imminent return. Or maybe the man just grew tired of her pleas. Either way, the door opened, and she escaped. Physically unharmed, but emotionally, something had shifted. In the years that followed, Ty tried to bury that night, dismissing it as one bad incident in a world where excess often blurred the lines of decency. But as her career in the music industry flourished, the reality she faced became clearer. The incident on that yacht was not an aberration. It was emblematic of something far more systemic, a truth she came to understand intimately as she climbed the ranks of an industry poisoned by unchecked power. She describes a culture where gatekeepers, overwhelmingly male, use their influence to exploit those at their mercy. The same culture that, she says, emboldened predators and silenced victims, leaving a trail of trauma that was rarely acknowledged and often dismissed. When news broke of Diddy's arrest and the damning charges against him, racketeering, sex trafficking, accusations of transporting people for prostitution, Ty couldn't help but remember that locked door and the man who held the key. Diddy himself has denied all charges, but his detention at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center and the upcoming trial in May 2025 have only amplified the spotlight on these harrowing stories. Ty's account is part of a larger, more damning narrative, one that challenges the music industry to reckon with the rot that has festered for far too long. She argues it's not just about the high-profile monsters like Harvey Weinstein or R. Kelly, though their names have become synonymous with industry-wide abuse. Instead, she emphasizes the systemic nature of the problem, pointing out that isolating these cases makes it seem as if the rest of the industry is clean, when in reality, the infection is much deeper. Ty recalls another incident years after that night on the Dream Seeker during a business dinner. A senior executive slipped a hotel key card to her under the table, an unspoken invitation that she flatly refused. It was just another reminder of how predatory behavior had become a grim norm, normalized in whispers and glances that everyone pretended not to notice. But she almost gave up. The industry nearly drove her away until, in 2005, an old college friend, John Legend, reached out to her. He wanted her to help guide his burgeoning career. He offered something radical, partnership with respect, devoid of manipulation or demands. Together, they forged a new path, creating a vision of the industry that rejected the toxic norms Ty had come to expect. Ty's story isn't just about recounting the horrors she's seen or the fear she's felt. It's also about a call to action. She believes that change is possible, but only if power structures shift dramatically. There needs to be more representation at the top, more women in decision-making roles, and a reckoning with practices like non-disclosure agreements that shield abusers. It's a vision for a safer, more accountable music industry, one where artists and executives alike can thrive without fear. She knows it won't be easy, but she has hope. a hope that's kept her going even when the darkness seemed impenetrable. Stiklorius had recounted her horrifying encounter aboard Diddy's yacht and the unshakable realization that it was only a symptom of a larger, more insidious culture. But as we step back to examine where things stand now, it's impossible not to be struck by the weight of her words and the unsettling reality they illuminate. The charges against Diddy are serious: sex trafficking, racketeering, and allegations that point to a man who may have wielded his power in ways far beyond what his public persona would ever hint at. Yet, while the legal process grinds forward and he maintains his innocence, what stands out is how these stories have reignited a collective conversation about power, privilege, and abuse in the entertainment world. What makes this case more damning and what Ty's op-ed lays bare is that these aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a carefully constructed fortress of silence and complicity, one built to protect those who thrive on exploitation. What's most haunting, perhaps, is the idea Ty puts forth about the kingmakers, the nearly untouchable industry gatekeepers who've shaped careers and crushed dreams with the same ease. The sheer audacity of their power has gone unchecked for decades, and the real question isn't whether these men have abused their positions. It's why they've been allowed to do so for so long without consequence. Ty's narrative challenges us to confront not only the obvious villains, but the enabling systems, the bystanders, the whispers that went unchallenged, and the careers that were sacrificed to preserve the status quo. Reflecting on Ty's experiences, it's impossible not to think about the psychology of an industry steeped in its own mythology, where power isn't just about money, but about control, about the ability to bend others to your will. It's a place where even the most talented are vulnerable, where fear often masquerades as loyalty, and where silence becomes a currency as valuable as any Grammy Award. And yet, for every predator, there are those like Ty fighting to carve out a safer, more equitable path. We're left with one critical question. Can the music industry ever be truly reformed, or will the allure of unchecked power forever keep it in the shadows? That's the challenge Ty has thrown down, and it's a challenge we should all be paying attention to. That's all for now. We'll continue following this story, so stay tuned. I am Tony Brueski, reminding you to hit subscribe so you don't miss our updates.
In a world where the darkest secrets lie just beneath the surface,
They said it was an accident, but the evidence says otherwise.
where hidden killers roam unnoticed in the shadows.
I think you would definitely be looking at a blend of toxic, very bad narcissistic personality traits, and they will be vengeful and possibly resort to violence.
Join Tony Brueski as he uncovers the truth behind the most chilling cases.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence clearly says otherwise.
Each episode, we dig deep into the minds of those who commit the unthinkable.
To your point on narcissism, he thinks in his own mind how witty he is.
Yeah.
But he lost that jury. I was done with him in 2 minutes.
From unsolved mysteries to infamous crimes.
Geez, you've just talked about how you've taught yourself how to do everything under the sun. I bet you did a YouTube video, how to best kill somebody with a knife.
Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski takes you where few dare to go.
How does someone with such a dark secret go unnoticed for so long?
With multiple new episodes every single day.
We're not just telling stories, we're seeking justice.
Listen now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski.